Right now, we are moving on to our streaming and podcast about Hackathon as an idea validation frame. We're going to discuss it today with João Pereira, who is CTO of Build Up Labs. And I'm very welcome João here. If João is already joined, let us check very soon. Yeah, some little technical glitch. So we will just talk a little about our team. So we have okay, João.
Hey.
Yeah, nice.
I clicked the wrong button. Sorry about that. It's always funny when the CTO messes up something technological. So
to be honest, it's how it works, because actually
yeah,
like we have in a platform LXTHON, what we use to run this hackathon. And historically, this platform exists already for 5 years. And historically, like it works for everyone, like, I don't know, like spacecraft going to the spaceship. But as soon as some VIP person joins, everything crashes. For some very weird reason. Nobody knows why. So, yeah, we're happy to see you here. I think it's your first experience with a StreamYard, yeah?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we're using a StreamYard. To be honest, we pay for it. I don't know why I'm advertising it, but it's kind of really nice streaming software where we use for performing our performance here. So, João, or can I call you GP?
Yes, please. That's why I added.
Okay, thank you. So, GP, as I mentioned, CTO of Build Up Labs. Build Up Labs is an incubator, also a startup studio. We'll talk about it a little bit later. Yeah, he's one of our sponsors of Hackathon, and also we are incubating here. So, I mean, LXTHON as a startup incubating at Build Up Labs. Okay, so, João, today we gathered here to discuss the topic, like, I know, in a little context, in a startup community, like idea validation is everything, because actually like modern position right now is that no any bright idea like in any genius mind. It doesn't work this way. Even if I imagine something, feel like it's my idea of all my life, I want to implement this startup, it may not work in 99.99% of cases, because the response about the startup coming only from market. If people love this idea, means this idea is going to work. If people don't love it, it's not work. So that's where the term idea validation appears. So in a startup community, we talk a lot about how to fastest, cheapest, most truthful way to validate an ideas. And that's what we're going to talk about with João today. Before we move into it, let's a little uncover João person itself. Like, yeah, we are in Portugal. And in Portugal, we have a 5G connection, very fast. And João, as far as I know, you're connected through mobile. But we see your picture in a really great way.
I can hear you now.
Except short glitches, yeah. But okay. So, João, could you tell a little story, like when you joined the Build Up Labs? Who you've been there?
Sure. Sure. So we have pretty stable Wi-Fi in Portugal, but right now I'm in the middle of the country, so not really in the city where I have good connection. But I'm hoping that this will be stable. So I joined Build Up Labs. It's been going almost 10 years ago. It was even before we have Build Up Labs as a brand. So it was a different name. It was more like an innovation department or lab. And it was my first job straight out of the university. So my background is in software engineering. I graduated, and I always been interested in the startup ecosystem. So even when I was in the university, I really like to learn by myself, to experiment with a couple of projects or ideas. I went to a couple of events about like the entrepreneurial ecosystem because it was booming at the time. I think it was around the time that some startups were really getting some traction. And once I left the university, I go through this new innovative system, and I got lucky to join Build Up Labs team and to be working there for 10 years. I know that 10 years seems a long time for like our young generation of workers, but during those 10 years, I've been working into several different startups and projects. So despite being working at Build Up Labs, I was able to learn, to experiment, and to build a lot of startups during that journey. So,
well, was it Build Up Labs your first experience after university?
yes,
Or
yes, yeah.
Ah, okay. So generally, you work like entire career in a Build Up Labs. Yeah.
It's in
So
Build Up Labs. Yes, yes, yes.
you should be like a perfect employee, like a dream of every businessman.
Well, you should ask me about that, but I do my best.
Yeah, no retention. Yeah. Okay. So and
To grow, to learn, and to fail as you grow. That's the right environment. So I know that to learn a lot of things, not only regarding software development, because that's my main focus, tech and product, but actually like working with the marketing team, uh, be doing sales and customer support, be working on the strategy of the products, the startups in the studio. So and also be supporting our startups at the incubator. So that's what I love. Every day it's a different day for me, and I think that's a great environment to be working on.
how many startups you've been supporting on your path from junior to CTO to gain such experience to become a CTO of startup studio? Yeah.
On the studio, more than I can count. So our process at Build Up Labs is always when we think of an idea, we like to think big, we like to think globally, but we like to start small, and then we either grow the idea fast or we kill the idea fast. So we've been experimenting with a lot of ideas, and most of the ideas fail. So that's what we call our graveyard of startups. Whenever some idea fails, we try to learn, okay, why did it fail? What did it went wrong? And how can we improve the process for the next venture that we build? I can say that during these 10 years, we had 5 exits on our portfolio. So 5 startups that we've been able to sell to other groups or other companies. We currently have 3 active projects, so 3 active startups, and dozens of failures. So those are projects that we go from idea, we try to build the MVP, and perhaps the technical part is not there yet, or we like the idea, we build a product, but then there is no market, there is no business around that, so we have to kill the idea. But I would say that dozens of ideas that I've been able to experiment, but 5 exits and 3 active projects currently.
Okay, that's fantastic. But I think that actually, regarding my experience, every time I fail, I grow a lot. Like
Yes.
every time I success, it maybe grows, but not such dramatical. I mean that the nature of my question was that, like, you started at Build Up Labs as junior, and right now you're a CTO. And as far as I know you are really true market CTO. So meaning 10 years of experience is quite a short amount of time to make this expertise grows. And you told that actually it's dozens of failures of startups, but could you maybe a little expand what attachment have you had to these startups? Like how deep these fails have been? So you trained such.
It really depends. So sometimes I'm a tech product. I'm a tech guy. So usually when I think of an idea, I want the product to be perfect, and that's one of the biggest red flags that I'm still working on. I'm still learning because it's better done than perfect, and that's what we tell our founders too. But I would say that at the beginning, I was very attached with the ideas because working in this type of environment, you can really see the impact of what you're building day to day. Nowadays, it's become easier for me to go from, okay, I have this cool idea, but first I need to test and to really validate if it's a good idea only on my head, or if there's a market, an ICP, if there's an audience for this idea, if it's a viable business model. So Nowadays, it's way easier for me to separate that. But coming from a software engineering background and wanting the products to be perfect at the beginning was very hard to let go of the ideas.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I said, if you saying you are from a software engineering background, anyways, Build Up Labs was your first place where you work after
Yes.
university. Like, let's try to imagine, like, just point to the sky. How many lines of code you wrote
Oh,
approximately?
uh, I would say hundreds of thousands. I'm not sure. Nowadays with AI, that number like exploded, but hundreds of thousands. I remember, so I can remember the first weeks of working on my first project. It was a PHP WordPress website, and I was like, this is the worst, but I'm loving it, so I'm learning a lot. So then I got a bit of I didn't really like PHP because of that first experience in WordPress, but nowadays I can see that it's a really good technology. But I
Yeah,
would say
cool.
like hundreds of thousands of lines of code. Yeah.
That's very nice. So, maybe would like to tell a little story because I kind of was doing a consulting business, and what I noticed that actually a lot of juniors who've been joining our company were asking like, I would like to work on a project where I will have a senior person who gonna guide me and say
Hmm.
where to go, how to fix, blah blah blah. And this consulting company is living for more than 8 years already. And I think I have a little data to compare. And my personal notice is that actually people who were able to survive unsupervised learning right now are much more expensive and much more sustainable experts rather than people who from the beginning been asking for like a senior support, like a growing path and so on. I just was wondering, like, what's your perception is, like, what's your data says, and maybe you may try to guess what's the key of such shift, like why a little.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
you hear,
Yes.
that's nice. Yeah,
Uh,
every like our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Yeah. So what's your experience about this? Yeah, like unsupervised learning versus supervised, and I'm talking not about AI. I'm talking about expertise growth and
Yeah,
person.
yeah, and people, it's different than machines. I would say that I have the same idea as you. So we at Build Up Labs we try to give an environment where people can learn by themselves and they can learn by doing. I would say that most of the times people are afraid to do something because if they fail, everyone will be talking with them and saying like, why did you test this, because this is not working. And we try to have a different perspective, so we like to give a lot of freedom but also responsibility. So we have a saying that is, if you give an idea for something to test, you need to be the one doing it and implementing. I think that says a lot about the culture that we try to do to have at Build Up Labs. um, but of course that when we onboard someone, we are not looking for someone that knows all the hard skills that can be learned during the job. So by the time that they are doing the tasks and learning with alongside as a team, they will learn how to work with these tools. We are more focused on the soft skills. So is this a person that already showed interesting in like personal projects, so they like to have an idea and to actually go build it. What have they built, or what have they how have they hacked something in their life for their benefit? I think that says a lot about the person. It's not working well, how can you turn it around to be something that could be an advantage for you? So we try to identify talents based on more on the soft skills than hard skills, because hard skills can be learned. Sometimes soft skills, either you have it or it's really hard to gain during a job opportunity.
That's fantastic, to be honest, because it's also correlate to me. Like, I want to highlight that to mention, like, to grow themselves and keeping responsibility. Like meaning that the secret of growing is being unsupervised but with responsibility.
Yeah.
I think that's great insight. It's answering lots of questions that's living inside my mind. Anyways, what if we switch a little to the supervised learning? I don't know,
Okay.
to be honest, in deep how the education system working in Portugal. But communicating with people here on the street, I feel like it's strictly supervised learning, like what I had in my university in Eastern Europe, say, like it's truly supervised. Well, anyways, what's university you've been studying, and how do you think, what's effect it had on your career? Did you obtain a great background, whatever?
Yeah, so what I think about university, it's shifting nowadays, and it's great. But it was a very theoretical learning path. So you learn how things work, but you don't really have a practical experience building this or putting those concepts and methodologies, frameworks into place. There were some universities that focus more on the practical approach, and we can see the difference working with different students from different universities. My own case from FCT, so I think I gained a lot of the backgrounds for being an engineering, but if it wasn't for my curiosity and interesting in learning about this entrepreneurial ecosystem, I don't think I was motivated enough in the university to go through this path. But luckily now things are changing. So I think that across universities there are a lot more of these types of hackathons, programs, junior companies that where the students can not only learn during the classes, but start to putting in practice what they learn. And I believe that's where you learn and grow more, because we had people joining Build Up Labs for an internship, and they say that okay, in 2 months working at Build Up Labs, I learned more than 3 years studying in the university. And that for us, it's the real impact of working on this type of environment, the impact that it can have on a professional and a career of someone. So yeah, I would say that's more theoretical, changing a bit, so that's great, but it's still lacking some of the practical way of putting your hands dirty. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if imagine that actually you did not study university and did not get all this theoretical background, how do you think would you be the same successful as you are now?
That's very tricky to answer. I'd like to say yes, but I don't think that would be the correct answer. It's very hard because it really changed. So I love my time at university. I think I learned a lot, and I learned what I wanted to do, because I was a bit unsure when I went into the university what specific field of study would I want to study, because I had some experience and I liked a couple of things, but I didn't love anything. And I was lucky enough to fall in love by programming and developing. Like for me, writing code is like an art. So you can write code that it builds something. It's build a product, a web solution. So and I was lucky to fit into that. But at the same time, I'm not sure if not going to the university, being more practical, I would have the basis to grow as I grow. So I think it's really good to have these both opportunities. So the FCT, the Nova University in Caparica, it's a great university because you don't not only have like the developer codes, but actually it's like a huge campus with mathematics, physics, chemics, materials. So you have different type of talent that you can network and meet, and it's great. Yeah.
Well, if it's Nova, it should be a great occasion for building a network.
Yes. But it's more focused on the engineering side. So Nova, you have different faculties, and now you have one from business economics that it's really good near the beach as well. I think that's one of the things from Nova. They are always close to the beach, but they were lacking like connecting students. Connect one engineering student with one business student, and you can create something amazing. And during my time, we didn't have any of this. Now there are more programs that stimulate that synergy, and I think it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Also would like to. I think we have a really comprehensive conversation. I would like to highlight the most major points. That, to be honest, we had very thoughtful discussion. We already covered like try and fail strategy. We already covered the networking. We covered the theoretical background. I think all of the things are important. And you know what? In my mind, all of them are uniting in synergy during the hackathon, because like we are doing a podcast like Winning Stack. We already had 3 sessions with one Finnish guy, one girl from America, and one guy from Portugal. And to be honest, they have very different positions. Like some of them saying you should have absolutely technical team, like no management allowed, because management during hackathon is a bullshit. Another guy saying like no, management is okay, we just having something like vibe coding and so on. But something unites all of them together is that all of them are having, to be honest, unbeatable technical background. It's like all of them are from top universities, like their local top university, like for Jai from United States, from Willy from Finland, for Guilherme from Portugal. So yeah, technical background. The second thing, all of them are like serial hackathon winners. Yeah. The second thing is that actually all of them having more than 3K subscribers on LinkedIn. For Jai, it's more than 50K, meaning they have quite comprehensive network, to be honest. Yeah. And the third, during the hackathon, during the podcast, all of them told us that hackathon is like a frame, is a space where everyone can fail and have nothing for this. So it's an atmosphere that's fostering try and fail strategy, and all of them highlighted it. As well, all of them highlighted that luck is a very, very important factor to win the hackathon.
Yes.
And considering all of this, I just wanted to raise a question like, can be a hackathon a frame to validate an idea? Because usually the hackathon is 48 hours. It's like a full business week, yeah? And I quite can imagine that something meaningful may be done during this time. So I would like to hear like your thoughts about it. So what do you think? And how it goes.
Yeah, I think doing an hackathon is a great way to actually validate something and to build something. So on the studio, one of the ways that we try so we go a lot through the ideation, through validation, building stage, and sometimes what we do is internal hackathons. So we have specific time frames where we evaluate our ideas and how we can build them and validate them. And if we want to have a more focused time doing that, an hackathon is a great opportunity because everyone on the team will be working on the same goal. And that's great. So another thing that I think highlights the impact that an hackathon can have, it's the time constraint. So since you know how much time you have, you really need to prioritize and to plan. So I can understand why having someone to manage might be hard because they want to have the perfect plan, but not having a management can really work against yourself on an hackathon. I think the best way is for you to come up with an end goal. So that's what we want to build, and then really come up with a plan on those 48 hours to know, do some checkpoints and to know, so in this point we should be working towards achieving this. If we are not, we need to review the plan. So I think that's very important because you can very easily go to the end of the hackathon and not having what you wanted to build or your vision, your goal working. So if you have those checkpoints, I think those are perfect times for you to analyze and to prioritize. Building a startup, it's always about pivoting. So we have an idea, we try to validate, we build it, we launch it, we start to gather feedback from clients, and then, oh, we need to change something or we need to pivot the product. So let's build something else or let's improve the product. Then go through this feedback loop again with that feedback to know what we are going to build. On an hackathon, you need to do that on steroids. So you need to have a lot of caffeine, so you are so you know what you're building. But I think it's hackathons are great alternatives to go from one goal, one vision, to a plan, and then really it's about executing well and very fast.
Yeah, that's true. To be honest, it's totally comply with my visioning on a hackathon. Yeah, so we may try, fail, and blah, blah, blah. But for you, hackathon is more ideation or validation stage?
I think that it depends on the type of validation. So if you're talking about technical validation, that's totally for an hackathon. But if we are talking about market validation or client validation, that might be hard because sometimes you need more time. So we try to do that with talking with people, interviewing people, going through communities and getting feedback from communities. And it's something that we want to have it fast, but it can take time, a few days, a few weeks. So sometimes it goes after this hackathon. But I would say that for me, an hackathon for the ideation and validation phase for the product, it's perfect. For the market, it can be hard. It depends on what you're building. If your audience is already on the hackathon, it's perfect because you can be building, acquiring feedback, and going through the iteration loop as you build it.
Okay, but what if we imagine a big hackathon, like, I don't know, like Junction, where more than 1,000 people attending, and they are using peer-to-peer review evaluation. So meaning that's no jury, like we are having on our LXTHON. They have a peer-to-peer system. Like as soon as the hackathon ends, every participant is obliged to compare at least 15 pairs of teams and say like which team you like more. And in this way, it appears that almost 1 million comparisons comes to every team. So the team that's winning has been really literally picked by the crowd, yeah, and may be a kind of also market validation or maybe pre-market validation. I mean that understanding whether this idea deserves to go to check the market, because always costs money, yeah, even if it's cost effective, or like no, it's even have no chances here. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I agree. So when you go to market validation, scale, it's the best thing to have. So it's one thing to have like 5 to 10 juries, especially saying like this is a good idea, but they understand the pain, they know the product. Another thing is to have the whole community voting and really testing the product and liking the product so much that they will choose your amongst like hundreds of other projects. So that's a way better validation that just being for a majority. Like I said, so I think both are good. If you want to validate your idea on a more scalable way and to have more like the real client or the end user feedback, the community wins. So
yeah. So actually, like what we having today, like a jury, is like American TV show. We see sharks.
yeah.
But when it's community, yeah, it's some kind of idea validation. Okay, so hackathon is great, but today we are like a sharks. So we're not so good at an idea validation frame. I think we're more ideation hackathon. Yeah, so the best ideas are gonna win, but the best ideas is decided by the startup makers itself.
Community,
so what they know from market. Yeah. So to be honest, it's a little bit incubating of idea, and that's where I would like to switch. to the understanding of build up labs as an incubator. It's how I get know about it, because me and my team been applying for a Portugal startup visa, applying to the eAPME portal. It took about like 3 months with fulfilling our application. One of the stages is we should pick the incubators from the approved list, pitch to the incubators agree to sign contract with us. So we attach this agreement to the APME and may proceed further with our visa. So it's how it's being done here. We applied to the one incubator in Braga, one in Évora, to build up labs, and to the Startup Portugal. Startup Portugal declined us, and to the rest we've been pitching. So we picked up the build up labs as an incubator. Well, when I come here and establish connection with Rui, who is your CEO of Build Up Labs, he was telling me that Build Up Labs was a startup studio. Yeah. And yesterday, when we have been preparing our podcast, you mentioned that actually you would like to discuss difference between incubator, startup studio, and accelerator. And for me, it's mind-blowing. All of this is connected to the startups. We even have an overlay with a definition, so you listeners can read into the difference between these three things while we start up this discussion. But GP, I would like to go into the difference between startup studio, incubator, and accelerator.
I think that's a great topic, because it's something that some people think is the same. Some people think that incubator is more for the early stage, and that's not usually or not always the case. So just to give you a bit of context of Build Up Labs, when we started Build Up Labs, we were a startup building other startups, and we didn't even know the venture builder term. So we were just doing because we love it. We were good at building products, but then we started to notice the venture building movement and the startup studio, and we identify what they were doing. So venture building, it's when you have like a factory. So you are a company that goes through every stage of building a startup, from ideation to validation, to building the product, to iterating, to go to product market fit, and then spin off, an exit, or a failure. But you do it on a very repetitive way. So we are always testing new ideas at the same time. So our goal is with the same team at Build Up Labs, we share resources, we can optimize the process that we are doing, because startup failure rate is very high. Most of the startups fail. On the Startup Studio, what we want is to reduce that failure rate, so we can have more winnings with the same team, with the same resources. So that's the goal of a Startup Studio. Yeah.
But so sorry for interrupting. We didn't speak now about incubator and accelerator, but I can understand this like a service. Yes. So I'm a startup. I would like to be incubated, or I would like to pass successful acceleration program. So I come, pay money, and pass through. About the Startup Studio, for me, it's always been a mystery. Like, let's imagine I'm a new startupper. I'm having a great idea. I come to you. What I should do? Like, I pitch this idea, and you try to understand whether you want to test it or how it works.
Yeah.
So, idea, I come to you. What's it step by step? How it goes here?
Usually, what we do is, if we know the co-founder, so imagine that you have an idea for a product that you want to build, but you need help. You need help with product, with marketing. You come to a startup studio, and what we will evaluate is, like, first, how well do we know you? So not only the idea, even if we believe in the idea, if we don't know the founder, we don't know how to work with him, it's very hard for us to accept, because being a startup and being a co-founder is like having a marriage, and sometimes those don't do great. So we need to build a relationship. We need to know each other. So that's why usually the ideas that we build are from our own team, or from people that work at Build Up Labs or work in Build Up Labs in the past, because we already know how to work with them. But imagine that we are a really cool co-founder that we already know, that we've been talking in the past, and we have an idea that you want to build, but you need support. Okay, so come to us, and as a startup studio, we will be co-founder of your idea. So we will go through the sweat, tears, and blood of building it, growing, grinding, building a pitch deck, pitching to investors. Okay, so and that's different from an accelerator or an incubator, because on an incubator we are not co-founders. We are there to give you support, to give you mentorship, to give you access to our network, but we don't have an equity on your product. Okay, and we don't want to sell you services. We are there to give you support and
Yeah,
to
like incubator and accelerator are involved, but startup studio is
yeah.
engaged.
Yeah, the startup studio is there with you building your idea. Incubator or accelerator, you go to the program, we give you support, we know how to help you, but you need to be doing your work, or the startup team needs to be doing their own work. Okay.
Yeah, but as far as
Yeah.
I understand, like the exchanges that actually I'm having some idea that you recognize kind of great idea and you would like to invest in it. So I'm just exchanging literally an idea, but you told that actually you should know me as a founder and probably maybe some backed persons as you believe or whatever. So, but I exchanged my idea for kind of your validation framework and even market fit framework and
Yeah.
blah blah blah, market go. But I was always living with an feeling that idea costs zero. But what's your feeling about it? But as more older I become, the more I understand that there is a big difference. Like when I don't know, somebody in my courtyard saying that AI will change the user interface and user experience completely. We need to discuss about it. Maybe it will be screenless. Yeah, I'm saying, oh, what's a bullshit you saying? Like, great idea, let's test it, but it's nothing. Yeah, but when Sam Altman buys the Apple Design Studio, and this Apple Design Studio says the AI will change the UI and UX, yeah, as an idea, everyone, it will become screenless. It's something everyone takes and say that it's this idea like costs billions. What's the difference? Like maybe you have this sense like
Yeah.
how to distinguish it.
I have the same feeling as you. So idea are worthless. Idea without the execution are not worth anything. And on that example that you gave from OpenAI, what you are really buying, is it the idea or is it the guy that will bring the idea? You are buying the talent. You know that whatever the idea he will come up, he will win. So that's what we try to identify.
So it's about being a backed person.
Yes, it's about being someone that we know, and we know that is resilient enough, because if that idea doesn't work, we will figure out with you what will work. We will pivot, because working
Like
on a
next
startup,
idea, yeah, and
yeah,
so on.
yeah, working on a startup, we really need to be agile, adapting to the market. And sometimes we start building something that we believe it will have an impact. Once we launch it and once we start to gather feedback from clients, we understand, oh, that's not really what they want. They want another thing. So let's go take a step back to be able to move to forward. So it's more about, can this person or this founder be the one that where we can actually build this. So I agree with you that ideas by themselves are, I won't say worth zero, because they are worth something, but without the execution, they are really meaningful.
Okay. Phew, to be honest, like it's very insightful for me. I'm like pretty honest. It's the first time in my life you untangled this conflict in my brain. Because yeah, it's very. I think we should highlight it. Yeah,
Yeah,
we pay and we invest not in idea. We invest in a person who creates these ideas and capable to execute. So
it's
it's
always
all
like that.
about
Even investors, when you pitch to an investor, you are not only pitching your idea, you are pitching the idea, the product, the team, yourself as the founder, the potential to grow. So you don't only focus on, this is my idea, right? So I think that says a lot about. And for early stage founders, your most important job is to sell your idea, sell yourself, sell your potential, your vision, your goal. You always need to be selling.
This sounds awesome. And the if we like how the incubator and accelerators are connected here,
Yeah.
because I feel like it's still very connected, and maybe we may play around the difference. Like imagine we have two startuppers, one startupper you've chosen for startup studio support, and another one being declined, but he decided, knowing the maturity of your name, to join your incubation
Mhm.
program. Yeah. So, what will be the difference between these two startuppers, and how do you treat them? Is it this treatment separate? For sure, should be.
Yeah, so sometimes it is. So I would say that the main difference between an incubator and an accelerator is that an accelerator is a time-based acceleration program where you have all the steps defined. So you know that you'll be on step number one, then go to step number three, two, three, four, five, and then you will graduate. So it's time constrained, and you already know what you'll be learning or focusing on an incubation program. We try to adapt the program to what the startup needs. So we, on our incubator, we have founders or startups from different stages. Some of them just have an idea, others already have a business and they want to grow, or they are looking to raise an investment, so they need our help supporting uh, with investment rounds. And based on what the startup needs, we come up with a goal for the next year, and then we come up with a specific tailored plan that we will always revisit. And on the incubator, we identify, okay, so what will be the things that the startup will focus, and what will be the support that we as build up labs or as our network, because our network can be from other companies, enterprises, freelancers, mentors, investors, so we have a lot to offer. What we will we focus to help you achieve those goals, and it's ongoing. It's not specific to 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year. So it's something that the startup can join for 1 month, 1 year, 2 years. We have startups that are with us from the beginning. So we launch around the COVID times. So they are still with our community because they see the value. And when we are growing your startup, you will go through different stages. So it's normal for that we come up with a plan for the first year. You are on the idea stage. Then in 1 year, everything will look different. So we'll need to sit back with the team, with the founder, and think about the next year. So okay, we were able to reach to this stage. What should be the goals for the next year, and how can we help? What you'll be focusing on. So I would say that those are the main differences. And it was very hard for us when we identified that okay, Build Up Labs is a startup studio, because that's the way that we started. Trying to explain that to people. We are a startup that builds other startups. We are co-founders. We take equity. It was very difficult for investors to know what we are doing. Once we build the incubator, we are an incubator and we are supporting founders on these specific stages. Everything become more clear. So I think that the incubator ties very well with the studio as well, to help us have a more direct or separate operations part.
May we, as external observers, consider that startups being on a startup studio support are kind of some kind of like a outer choice. Like it's a, I don't know, first league startups by Build Up Labs evaluation, comparing to the startups that are just incubating.
Uh, can you rephrase that question, because I'm not sure if I understood?
Yeah, because to be honest, for me, like being a startup studio is like being a super advanced incubator with exchange on equity. Like it's how
Yes,
I
yes.
perceive what you told. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like imagine we are right now the external observers. Like we look into the how and for what Build Up Labs working, and it has, for instance, 10 startups, 2 startups on a startup studio, and 8 on an incubation. Maybe consider that these 2 startups on a startup studio are kind of VIP startups, like startups that Build Up Labs
Yeah.
believe in most. Yeah.
It's not about believing more. It's more that since we have more equity and we have more to gain, more potential to gain, we need to put our sweat there. So That's sweat equity that we usually do. And right now we are testing a new model where we might have a founder or a startup in the incubator that we actually believe on the idea and the founder, and they need help building the product, and that's where we are very good at. So let's bring more to the studio part. Let's actually be the ones supporting and building the product alongside the founder to see if we can gain more potential. Because usually the startups on the studio are always from the internal team. So we are trying to expand this so we have more synergies between the incubator and the startup studio.
Okay, but my next question was like, what should I do? For instance, well, consider me as an abstract person, not as Daniel subject, but what should I do to join the startup studio support? Any kind of characteristics, exams? Yeah.
No, I think it's more about like reach out to us, get to know each other, so know how we work. Let's build a relationship, and then if we can identify that, okay, we actually believe in the team, believe in the idea, believe in the product, and there's another thing because we need to have resources to be able to help. So even if sometimes we have founders that we really believe in and that we would love to be more involved, but we don't have the resources to be. So that's a shame. But that's why we want to try to expand the team a bit so we can be supporting more on a hands-on approach some startups. But it's all I think it all breaks down to building a relationship. So let's get together, let's get to know each other, how we work, how we think, what are the visions, what are the goals, and then how we can collaborate together.
Sounds really nice. Thank you so much for. I think that it's very sophisticated, and I'm really fascinated by the difference you provided between accelerator, incubator, and the startup studio. To be honest, we had a conversation with Rui where I shared that being a startup studio is kind of my dream. But Rui sent me a few articles saying that startup studios are rapidly closing for the last 2 years. So I think you are in a very complicated challenge. So I think it's some kind of heroism of what you are doing, and really would like to support a lot. And thank you so much for everything you're doing, because building and creation is extremely complicated thing, because it's like a big difference between I don't know, navigating and flying inside your mind and dreaming like, oh, this may be a great idea. But it's like, I don't know, to the moon and back distance between dreaming and doing and building. Yeah. What do you think if we go through a little blitz and gonna wrap up our discussion? It was really great. We were expecting half an hour, but we almost done 1 hour speaking. So I think we need to cut it into short pieces, because you were so clear in defining things, and I think it's your personal talent. Yeah, you were very compact.
Great. Thank you. Yeah,
clear.
I try to do that. Yeah.
Okay, Blitz. Very first question I'm asked literally to everyone: big tech or startup?
Startup.
Startup. Okay. Nice. How do you think Build Up Labs can be called a startup, or it's already more some midterm business? Or
startup. We even if we grow, we want to always have the mindset of a startup and the environment of a startup.
Okay, nice. So, what you value the more, like idea you completely believe to and think it's the best you ever heard in your life, or working prototypes that you can start testing like today?
What I believe more?
Yeah, what you will choose, what you will pick. Idea with no any implementation done yet, but this is a great idea. Like you feel it's the best idea in your life, or the prototype that's already capable to be tested with market.
Prototype.
Prototype. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
idea means now. Great.
No, I love the idea, but it's hard to sell the idea to outside people or to even to an actual client. And if you have a prototype, it's way easier to. So this is my idea, and it's working on this product. Let me know what you think. So nowadays, it's all about prototype.
Okay. So 5 years in university or 5 years trying to make your own business?
Make your own business.
Okay, cool. Make your own business from the beginning, like from the graduation, or work 5, 10 years for another company to understand how business works?
Build your own business
From scratch with that.
from
Okay.
scratch.
So
Yeah, and
being completely unsupervised.
but try to surround yourself with people that are on the same environment, or try to get mentors, even if it's not from an official part, like as an incubator, because you might not have the funds to support being incubated. Reach out to people and ask for help. People are more willing to help than you think, and it's very hard to get a no from someone. Like, if you're not annoying someone, or if you're not taking that much time from someone, even if it's an expert, it's very hard for that people say no, I don't want to help you, because we want to help each other. So build your own idea, surround with people, and get mentors that you know it will help you. So I think it's all about that.
Cool. What you choose? Build a big network or team of experts that conduct perfectly?
That's tricky. I think that the network can have a compounding effect. So in the long term, it might help, but being surrounded of experts, it can help in the short term for you to accomplish something. So I think that short term, surround yourself with experts that really identify what you should be focusing, or how can you unblock stuff. But in the long term, the network can really compound, and the synergies that you can get from the network.
That's awesome. And I really love your way of thinking. I call it, I think it's just name. This is like tetralemma von Kibida, saying that's just not black and white. There is
Yeah,
something
yeah.
in between. And yeah, I love it because it's kind of combination of strategic and tactic visioning. It's
Hmm.
very important, to be honest. I would choose to fight for both good network and great
Yes,
experts that's
that would
conducting
be
perfect.
the best scenario.
Yeah. Okay. So, as a startup studio, what you prefer more, like rising superstar young startuppers who just in the beginning of their way, or startuppers who made dozens of exits and like very very major?
Uh, I think it's important to have both as well, so not black and white, because you need. I think that for you to really achieve something great, you need the young hunger of people that really want to win, and you need the experience for people that already went through that path. So if you want to build something sustainable, go from people that already know how to build stuff. If you want to have like a one shot of a unicorn, go for young people that are willing to go through the stage. If you want to have both, I think that would be the best scenario.
Okay, that's really nice. Unfortunately, I forgot the name of Alibaba CEO, but he was saying that before 20, like learn, before 30, work for someone, before 40, try, before 50, teach, before no, before 40 work, before 50 teach, before 60 rest. And it's like a big question always. What's the best age to start your first successful startup?
Uh, well, the first one is very hard to be successful. The second one as well. The third, fourth, fifth as well. So if you can start the earliest that you can start, the best, because you will learn a lot. You will know how to improve, and it's not about it's about this journey, but you need to have a real understanding of trying to, like you're saying, like the strategic vision. So whenever something fails, or when you start to building an idea, and then you need to take a step back and to analyze your journey and to see, okay, what should I be doing that I'm not doing, or what am I doing that is blocking me, that is pushing me back? So I need to switch, because if you don't do this exercise, you will always be on the same path. So you will always be building products that nobody wants, or having trouble coming up with ideas. And it's very hard to go from this. And I have this difficulty of going very practical and very hands-on, and putting my heads down building, but actually sometimes getting back and try to be more strategic, and to be more think more long term. So I think it's important to do this, but as early as you can start.
Okay. Absolutely. So the making a startup is a passion or it's skill?
I would say it's more a passion, because if you, it will be very hard. It's a tough journey, and if you don't have the passion, it doesn't mean that you will not win, but you will not have the same energy to go through the difficulties that is building your idea and growing.
Yeah, I'm asking
So
to be honest because you telling when I asked the previous question, like the perfect age to start your first successful startup, you
yeah,
told that first you fail, second you fail, third you fail, and for me it looks like something that I need to build up a skill because
yes,
for me it's like a sport. First time on wakeboard, I don't start, even didn't stand, and like surfing, yeah, the years have passed since I'm able to first catch my big wave.
your first wave,
Big
yeah.
wave. I meant half a meter, yeah. So, is it about luck and passion or skill? Finally,
It's about having the passion enough for you to build the skill. Because if you don't have the passion to be resilient, to always keep trying and to keep testing new ideas and to experiment, you won't be getting the skill. And if you have the passion, you can, even if you don't have the skill, you can find people that have the skill. So you can find a co-founder that will help you build the product if you don't have that technical skill. You can use AI nowadays to really help you build something. So I would say more passion than skill.
that's to be honest, that's great. Yeah, and lot of startuppers I know, successful startuppers who are ready to make exit or ready made exit, are saying that actually when I will be on my kind of successful startup path, there will be a moment where I gonna feel that everything will fail very soon. Like tomorrow, I will have nothing. When I pass this point and still survive and continue thinking that okay, and tomorrow I will die. And it happened during the year or so. It will happen a moment where like 1 hour later, it will be really the end. And at this point, the success comes that something mystic happens and the startup raises. Thank you so much, JP. I think we had an extremely long, extremely comprehensive discussion. And a very, very last question. I wanted to be asked from the deep of my heart, as it is saying in my own country. How may we help to continue your movement with the startup studio and incubation, because you're doing really great, and if we can help by some way, I mean, as a society, I would love to foster this.
So sorry, Anil. I totally lost you. My connection went bad. I think
No, all good.
it knows that we are ending this conversation. It said, but can you repeat that question? Sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to say that what you're doing with incubator and startup studio is great, and I just was wondering, may we as a society to help you by some way?
What we One of our missions is to foster this type of ecosystem and this type of mindset in younger generations. So because when you are young and when you have that passion, you feel that you can conquer the world if you have the right mindset and if you can build the right skills, you can have a really great impact. And it might be my view of Portugal, but Portuguese talent is not yet being fully, how can I say, uh, we are not taking advantage of the full potential that we have from young entrepreneurs, and we need to build more young entrepreneurs in Portugal. So we need more cases of founders that are willing to share their stories, their learnings, their failures, because I think that we as a society of Portuguese, the Portuguese people are very afraid to say that they fail. Not sure why, but it's typical from and you can see the difference between Portuguese and, for instance, like United States Americans. Um, so I really believe that we need to work on the younger generation so we can really see the huge impact that we can have.
Okay. We're going to help with it. And I think that Hackathon is a very right place. Thank you
This
so
is
much,
yeah.
JP. So, yeah,
Thank you,
returning
Daniel.
back to the Hackathon was great discussion.
Bye bye.
Thank you very much.
Good luck to
Bye.
everyone. Bye bye.
Yeah, that's what participants have to have. Oh my God, it was a great discussion with the JP. Even my soapbox light has gone out of charge. I think we should have a small break for lunch, but the hackathon is ongoing. And dear participants, you soon should have seen the schedule of the second checkpoint. That's mandatory to visit to align with experts your solutions. And to get a little bit more attention, we continue heading our second speech with Ashraf about data applications. That's going to happen less than in 1 hour. Then it will be consequently prolonged with a great podcast about AI, genetic AI. And we can't wait to see you all in person tomorrow. Right now, I'm switching off for a while, for a little, to recharge the soapbox, and we see each other very, very soon with Ashraf on discussion. See you later and continue hacking. Have a great luck. Thank you.